I'm not quite sure where to begin, Mark, because I feel like if I follow the script, the acolytes just keep coming and coming and coming, and yet they really don't do justice. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the trustees and on behalf of the congregation, but also to speak on behalf, as you'll find out in a little while, when I'll ask our senior rabbi if he will help me unveil something, the city of New York. Mark has done so much for so many people, and if the legacy of a person is the people they touch, the impact they have on their lives, Mark is a person who over 34 years here and in the years before has a legacy that will live on and live on and live on. He told us when we were making the film, and Kim Hartman was directing and producing it, that when we were redoing the sanctuary, he took the liberty of painting his name in the ceiling. So you can all look up and try to find it. But then in typical Mark fashion, he told us he actually painted over it. He didn't think it was necessarily appropriate. Well, Mark, I got to tell you, your name is in every single piece of this magnificent sanctuary, because it wouldn't be what it is if not for the 34 years you have spent here with us. But there was a time before he was here, and it's a time that I think was just mentioned by our previous Mark, which is the work he did before that. And the reason I want to mention it is because he tells this joke about when he was one of the organizers of the 1987 March on Washington. By the way, it's not a joke he's told me. He's told it to a lot of other people, apparently, but it's been repeated to me. It's said that, as many of you probably recall, some of you were probably there, 250,000 people came to the streets of D.C. during a visit by Gorbachev, and Mark was one of the people who helped put this together. He likes to joke that it was the largest march of Jews since the Exodus. I like to say that Mark was instrumental in helping to free Soviet Jews to immigrate to America and Israel, who have made so many important contributions to science, technology, and every other field. Now, tonight we heard about all the wonderful things he did, but there's something I'd like to personally mention. Mark talked about the 50 to 70 tours he gives every year. Well, he probably doesn't recall this, but one of those tours was myself and my wife. We came here, we had just moved back to the city. We were talking to our rabbi. He mentioned his relationship to Temple Emanu-El, and he said, you should give them a call. And so I did. And Mark answered the phone, and he said, come on over. The two of you should come over. The high holidays are coming. And I said, well, we'll probably celebrate them back at our home. And he said, no, you should come here and celebrate them here too. And so Mark, in typical fashion, not only arranged for the two of us to spend some time in the sanctuary, brought us to Rabbi Posner, but at the end of it, he not only said, I'm so sure you're going to love it here. I have some seats available for you to take. So we sat in those seats, and of course I called after the high holidays and said, we love it. We want to become members. What do we have to do? Tell us the forms we fill out. And he said, and what do you think about the seats? I said, they're great. He said, good, they're yours. I found out when I went on the board years later, they were the last row of that section, which for the members of the congregation, you all know that if I was one row back, they would have been a lot less expensive. That was our administrator. Mark, there are so many things you've done. There are so many things all of us will recall. But tonight, I really do have a pleasure to do something very special. Rabbi Davidson, if you would assist. Because it's not just the temple who's recognizing Mark. You'll hear in a little while and see some other folks. It's also the city of New York. And I have the honor tonight, on behalf of the mayor, to talk a little bit about who Mark is. There is a beautiful proclamation that Rabbi Davidson is holding up from the city of New York. And it says, whereas communities of faith across the 5 boroughs are essential threads in the rich cultural tapestry that unites and sustains New Yorkers, And our city takes immense pride in these vibrant coalitions and its diverse leaders who serve as a bedrock of spiritual and social support for their neighborhoods. In that vein today, it gives me great pleasure to join Temple Emanu-El's community in congratulating Mark on his retirement after 34 years of service as this Upper East Side Synagogue's longtime administrator. Whereas in his 3 decades at Temple Emanu-El, known to be one of the largest synagogues in the world, Mark has proven himself to be invaluable, leaving no I undotted, T uncrossed, or stone unturned. Detail-oriented and painstakingly meticulous, Mark has scrupulously overseen every aspect of Jewish life cycle events, from births and b'nai mitzvahs to marriages and funerals, including those of Mayor Ed Koch and Joan Rivers. Why the mayor mentioned Joan Rivers, I'm not quite sure. Mark probably has a story there. For members of the congregation, too, as well, he ensured seamless day-to-day operational functioning of this historic house of worship, which boasts a museum-quality collection that dates back to the 14th century. The Jewish high priest Shimon the Righteous famously explained, "The world exists through 3 things: Torah, service, and acts of loving kindness." Mark has more than exemplified these ideals of Tikkun Olam, healing the world, through his selfless service to the members of this congregation and its greatest community. In particular, its various service programs, such as the Sunday lunch for people facing food insecurity. In the years following 1967 Six-Day War, when many Soviet Jewish people faced anti-Semitism and were denied exit visas in Russia and Eastern Bloc countries, Mark was instrumental in helping to liberate and enable them to immigrate to the U.S. and Israel, where they have gone on to make significant contributions in every societal sector. Whereas tonight, I, Mayor Adams, am pleased to join Congregation Emanu-El of New York, our dynamic Jewish community, and all New Yorkers in applauding and thanking Mark for the many mitzvahs he has performed over the decade. He has made an indelible impact on the lives of so many and has honored our city's core values of generosity and dedication to service. As you gather this Shabbat to reflect on all the good Mark has accomplished, I'm proud to applaud his commitment to uplifting all people, as well as his efforts to advance our mission to build a better, brighter, more just future for all. I know he will be dearly missed by all who had the pleasure of getting stuff done by his side, and I am pleased to add my voice to his chorus of well wishes upon his retirement. I extend my best wishes that his next stage of life will be one of equally great success. Now, therefore, I, Eric Adams, Mayor of the City of New York, on Friday, May 19th, 2023, do hereby confer the citation of Mark Heikkinen. Signed, Eric Adams. The mayor said it all, Mark. May you continue in the role you have always had, because I know for all of us, you always will.